Crank up those subwoofers, dude, and check this out.
Lego is a brand synonymous with childhood nostalgia, and there's been no shortage of weird, wonderful, and creative Lego media. And today we're ranking it all on our official Lego media tier list. We're starting with the weaker Lego properties over the years. This is the D tier, for the stuff that just didn't click, unlike those annoying flat pieces where you'd get one stuck on the other and never get them off. And we're starting off with Disney's Lego Friends of Heart Lake City. At least, I think it's a Disney thing. And you can also find them on YouTube. And I'll acknowledge right away that I am not in the target audience for the show, but I think most of us can agree that Lego Friends is one of the weirdest themes the brand has ever put out. Think Legos, but they're more like if you put Barbie in a blender with something adjacent to Legos. But to its credit, it's made the bold decision to subvert the whole cartoon made to advertise a toy cliche. Instead, this toy advertised a show, and the show asked an even bolder question. What if these Legos did not look like Legos? And what if that brown dog looks like it's about to become my new sleep paralysis demon? It's a fine show for kids, but it's definitely plain to see why basically nobody ever talks about it. Next up is a way more popular property that got a theatrical movie, the Lego Ninjago movie. Right off the bat, the simple fact this movie exists is kind of impressive. Following the success of both the Lego movie and the Lego Batman movie, it was only natural to have another attempt at putting that buildable magic on the big screen. Unfortunately, the movie is widely considered the weakest link of the Lego films thus far, which, ironically, is a sentiment held most dearly by fans of the series. There are plenty of exceptions, sure, but most of the audience could agree that while the movie itself was okay, it just wasn't really a worthy representation of Ninjago as a property, and certainly didn't hold a candle to the TV series. From the weakest show to the weakest movie, we now move on to the weakest Lego game, the Lego Movie 2 game. That's right, this is a licensed game based on a sequel to a movie based on a licensed property. Now, the way most fans have described this game is like Lego Worlds, but less open, which is kinda the entire selling point of Lego Worlds, so
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
yeah. Whereas Lego Worlds is basically the game's take on Minecraft and other sandbox-esque games. The majority of Lego games take on memorable properties and turn them into beat-em-up adventures. Combining these two makes for a game that, while not necessarily bad, just doesn't really deliver the same experience as most other Lego games. And fittingly enough, the final entry in the C tier is the Lego Movie 2. And look, I don't think this movie deserves all the hate that it gets. But coming off one of the most unexpectedly good movies of the past decade, this sequel just doesn't quite hold up. It's kind of like the Shrek the Third of this series. It's not a downright bad movie, but compared to what came before it, it just doesn't live up to the hype. That said, it does have its good properties. The animation is on par with the first, the voice acting is just as good, and now that I'm actually saying it out loud, basically everything good about this movie is just the first movie, but not as good. Even the message of the movie is all about how playing with loved ones is more important than keeping everything exactly the way you like it, which was the exact same message as the first movie's message, which was just done better. And with the C tier closed out, we move into the stuff that's a little more well put together. This is the C tier. And kicking off this section, we have Lego Chima, which you may remember as that show that would be on after school while you were waiting for Gumball or regular show to come on. But jokes aside, actually, no, that's genuinely how I remember it. And no disrespect to the people who love this series, but Chima just isn't all that memorable. Whether you're talking about the line of actual sets or just the show itself, it's just kinda alright. But when you compare it to all the other properties, not to mention the fact that it had to compete with Ninjago, it was just kinda over before it began. And suffering a similar fate is the Lego Incredibles game. This game combines the exploration and charm of Lego games with the crime-fighting action of the fan-favorite Pixar movie, which is awesome, right? Well, kinda. As fun as it can be, it's hard to not think that you could be playing something, well, better. Sure, they can be pretty fun games, but there are better superhero games and better Lego games to check out, and these just generally kinda remind us of those. Still, if you're a fan of the properties in particular, you'll definitely love how big the rosters are. And that's not to mention all the different powers you can use, which totally won't just tempt you to buy more sets.
like to buy all your chocolate.
It's okay, you can quit anytime you want. But without further ado, let's talk about this franchise's epic box office debut. That's right, I'm talking about LEGO Adventures of Clutch Powers. If you've never heard of Clutch Powers, you're in for a treat, or actually an entire buffet. This dashing specimen of a man is the greatest LEGO adventurer the world has ever known.
Well, you're Clutch Powers, of course, possibly the greatest LEGO explorer ever.
While Master Builders were considered this big deal in the 2014 movie, Clutch just does it like it's nothing. Likely because it only takes up roughly 1% of his total power. Women want him, men want to be him, and oh, what's that? You want to hear about the actual movie? I mean, it has Clutch Powers in it. What more do you need? It's hard to top such a legendary hero, but we can try. Next up is LEGO City Adventures, one of the surprisingly many LEGO shows out there. Like Chima, this one is just kind of okay. Like Clutch Powers, it's really more made to sell kids and their parents on buying more LEGOs. But it did somehow manage to get 4 seasons, so clearly some people liked it. Man, maybe we should get into the LEGO advertising business. And I have a feeling that's kind of the idea behind Pixar Bricktoons as well. Pixar and LEGO. 2 childhood absolute staples. Combining them only makes sense, and it has been done before. Off the top of my head, Toy Story and Cars both had themes at some point, which is why it's kind of weird that these shorts didn't include Toy Story, but I guess whatever. What they do include are cute, roughly 7-minute shorts starring Lego-fied versions of popular Pixar characters, like Nemo, Lightning, and Merida from Brave. Wait, they included Brave over WALL-E or Monsters Inc? That's kind of weird. But in any case, the shorts are, well, they're cute. Knowing Disney, I'm 110% sure they're meant to advertise sets based on them. That Lightning McQueen monster truck is going to be on shelves by the end of the year. I'm calling it now.
It feels like somebody wants to sell me something!
But now we've reached our next category, where we place a lot of cool stuff in the B tier. And kicking this category off, we have another one of the looser LEGO adaptations, Unikitty. After the LEGO movie was a huge success, Unikitty followed suit with her own Cartoon Network show. While the Flash animated style turned a lot of people off, if you actually watched it, you would find a pretty fun series, with cute character designs, a decent sense of humor, and one of the more creative LEGO set themes to complement it. This show honestly deserved a bit more appreciation than it got. Ironically, next we have one of the most utterly different themes from Unikitty imaginable, LEGO Jurassic World. This is more or less a pretty average LEGO theme and game. If you're talking about the sets, they do look pretty cool. Kid or adults, it's hard to deny the appeal of having some LEGO dinosaurs displayed as decoration. I mean, how else are you gonna attract the ladies? But the real highlight of this saga is the game. And there is one reason and one reason only for this: dinosaurs. In the game, you can play as LEGO dinosaurs, wreaking havoc and wrecking LEGO God's creation without having to deal with the cleanup afterwards. I mean, yeah, there's the story mode and Easter eggs and all that, but who cares? Custom dinosaurs, baby. That is the draw here. From the Jurassic to the Fantastic, next we have LEGO Harry Potter. Similar to Jurassic World, good old Harry P gets a high spot on our list because both his LEGO game and sets are pretty solid. Granted, Harry Potter is one of those properties that could slap its logo on a piece of drywall and make millions of dollars, but still, it's always nice to see such an iconic large-scale franchise make it into a different entertainment genre. I mean, even as someone who never really had interest in Harry Potter, the look of the triple-decker bus set is just awesome. And speaking of LEGO vehicles, one of the many Mario Kart inspired games out there, LEGO Racers, was one of the relatively few that managed to truly put its own spin on the genre. No doubt this game would be lower if it were just another generic N64 kart racer from the 90s installment, but it uses its IP way better than most. As you unlock more LEGO blocks, you can actually build your own minifigures and vehicles to race with. And honestly, this is a sick mechanic, especially for the Nintendo 64, and one that really deserves to be visited more. But let's move on to the latest movie, Piece by Piece. Piece by Piece, the Pharrell Williams LEGO biopic, builds its way into our B tier of LEGO media with its quirky and creative twist on the life of Pharrell Williams, all through the magic of LEGO bricks. This biopic is incredibly unique for the genre, as it takes us through a colorful journey through Williams' childhood LEGO obsessions to his music career and collaborations. And honestly, we just have to give this one points for ingenious storytelling, because the idea of a LEGO animated documentary is definitely unique.
LEGO
Just be open.
The Lego animations and dioramas bring Williams' musical journey to life with charm and humor, which really adds a playful touch to his rise to fame. Though we will keep it in the B tier, because some moments do seem rushed through or linger just a bit too much. But it's finally time to talk about an iconic stop-motion styled cinematic masterpiece. I'm talking about the Brick Like Me Simpsons episode. When your show has over 500 episodes, you have to try pretty hard to keep viewers invested. What better way to do that than an episode made entirely out of well-animated Legos and a theme about the importance of letting your kids grow up. Even more impressively, this wasn't just an ad for Simpsons Lego sets, considering they only made like 2 of them before dropping the concept entirely. Or maybe it was just a really bad advertisement.
No. Listen to me. We played, and it wasn't boring.
But we're gonna let our Wicked Binge animation bias continue for just a bit longer, and close out this section with the Lego SpongeBob theme. While it didn't last long, the sets were always really fun tributes to various settings from the show. Not to mention how creative they got with the minifigures. A really cool example was the Sandy's Rocket set, which unfortunately is difficult to find on eBay for a semi-affordable price. In any case, it's a shame the series got the shaft eventually. Rest in peace to the Jellyfish Field set that we never got. But without further ado, it's time to enter the A tier. And this is where we start to get into the most iconic Lego media. Starting with Lego Indiana Jones, an adventure movie saga all about exploring new worlds and hunting for treasure. Yeah, this series was made for Lego. The sets based on Indiana Jones are some of those that have achieved the coveted collector's item status. And if that wasn't enough, the games are actually really solid. And on to another major movie property. We have Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. Similarly to Indy, Jack Sparrow's foray into the world of Lego is successful in terms of both sets and games. The game is widely regarded as one of the best Lego games, and with good reason. I mean, come on, a collectathon series was made for a pirate setting. The sets are also some of the most coveted out there, with some of the most absolutely ludicrous asking prices you'll ever find. We're starting to get into absolute classic territory. But that doesn't mean the newer stuff can't stand out too. Next up, we have Lego Worlds, a game that seems to be very strongly in the love it or hate it category. The whole Minecraft ripped off Lego talking point has been done to death, sarcastically or otherwise. But when Lego decided to make a game with a similar sandbox element to it, the world was, actually, I'm kind of baffled at how little people talked about this game. The idea of a virtual Lego sandbox complete with different kinds of blocks is just such a perfect idea. And if it had better controls and better marketing, I'm sure it would have gone down as one of the greatest in the series. But still, this game is a great time, if it's what you're looking for. Now, while it hasn't nearly reached its full potential, the weird crossover of Lego Fortnite definitely has potential to be a more realized version of Lego Worlds. Getting caught up in the ability to make Goku go off on Rick Sanchez makes it easy to forget that Fortnite has a creative mode. So, weirdly enough, a crossover with Lego works surprisingly well. There's an open-ended creative mode, sort of like Minecraft, combined with more challenging aspects like survival mechanics, sort of like, Minecraft. Look, it was inevitable. This game really just is a virtual Lego Minecraft. And while the game definitely needs more polish, this could totally shape up to be the most impressive Lego game yet. It just needs more polish so I'm not fighting the same 3 enemies ad nauseum. Throw some of those creepy Duplo dudes in there or something. Next, we have another one of the most ambitious Lego games, Lego Dimensions. This might unironically be one of the most ambitious crossovers ever created. Toys to Life games were one of those weird things from the 2010s that were admittedly cooler in concept than practice. Most of the time, at least. The same goes for Lego Dimensions, which, while a pretty great game, was something a lot of people, including myself, just saw from the sidelines. Seriously, $100 for the starter pack? And that's not even counting all the little characters you have to buy in order to play as them.
Every dimension is mine!
But I can't act like this game isn't super cool. Again, at least in concept. I mean, what other games let you play as Batman, Wildstyle, and Finn and Jake? Even Multiverses only got 3 out of 4 of those. And the craziest part is this game included properties that never even got full Lego themes around them. That's some dedication, and honestly, it's an idea I'd love to see explored in the future. And they better invite Lego SpongeBob this time. Next up is another game that has no right being as fun as it is. Lego City Undercover. Okay, so this game is basically GTA, except it's for kids. And also you're the good guy.
Did anyone order a hero?
And I don't think there are Lego prostitutes in it, but I haven't completed it 100%, so who can say? All I know is that this is the closest we've gotten to that sweet blend of classic Lego gameplay and open world adventure. With a ton of side quests, plenty of collectibles, a surprisingly charming story mode, and genuinely well-made gameplay as a whole. This is one of those games that's way more overlooked than it ought to be. Next, we have to talk about some of the most iconic themes, like one of their newest, Lego Dreams. Look, the black boxes for grown-up Legos are great and all, but I'd be lying if Dreams wasn't the epitome of what makes Lego unique. The sheer creativity in these sets is something else. You've got panda mechs, cat motorcycles, this unreasonably hard bird-shaped battleship, and then some. If I had slightly less impulse control, these would get me into so much financial peril. And there's even a pretty decent show based on it too, which might help you justify buying some of these sets. I mean, it'll help you unwind and enjoy a good show after a hard day's work. But sometimes you just can't beat the classics, like Bionicle. I feel like everyone who played with Legos had at least one Bionicle in their collection, even if it was just one of those Happy Meal toys. It's like what would happen if you combine Transformers, Legos, and action figures in a blender. It's one of the most genuinely playful things you can do with Legos. It's no surprise that it had one of the widest range of media out of any Lego property, probably most notable for a whopping 4 TV movies. And speaking of which, if you guys are wondering, hey, where's insert Lego TV special here? My answer is simply, holy crap, there are way more than I expected. Like, I didn't even know Lego Scooby-Doo was a thing. And rounding out our A tier, we have the Lego Batman movie. Usually when a popular show or movie does a spin-off starring its comic relief, it's a recipe for disaster.
Wait, don't you have a show to do? Oh, that's right.
When said comic relief is Batman, it's an exception because, like, come on, it's Batman. He gets to star in a heartfelt film about discovering the importance of opening yourself up to people with animation and music that rivals the original. Not to mention one of the most adorable iterations of the Joker we've ever seen. The whole broken marriage dynamic that they have is actually hilarious. It's not quite as impressive as the original Lego movie, but as far as spin-offs go, the Lego Batman movie is really great. But without further ado, we've entered the S tier for Lego's most iconic properties, games, and shows. And on today's episode of Man, I Wish I Could Have Played This Growing Up, we have Lego Islands. After over 20 years of existence, this bizarre old PC game is still one of the most beloved properties in Lego history. And even if I hadn't played it myself, I can still respect the clear effort that went into it. Seriously, for a PC game that came out in 1997, this has to be one of the most technically impressive games I've ever seen, contextually. The animation, the creativity of the whole vehicle building mechanic, this game was truly just a product of its time. From everything I could find about this game, I think this one comment on Reddit really sums up public opinion for this game. Lego Island. I never knew what doing, but man, it was fun. And really, what sentiment could better express Lego as a property in general? Who needs to know what they're doing if they have the funny block building guys to keep them company? The world just wouldn't be as fun without weird fever dream games like this, so I had to give it a respectable spot on this list. Now, starting out the top 5, we have Ninjago. This was one of the many Cartoon Network shows cursed with having to compete with Adventure Time and Regular Show in the 2010s, and against all odds, it still managed to be remembered fondly. The characters, the plot, the settings, and not to mention the sets based on them, all combined to make a show that was surprisingly really awesome. It's one of those series that's almost universally agreed on as the best of its kind, so I'd say it definitely deserves a spot in the top 5. But we have to give our number 4 spot to the Lego Batman games. And really, it only makes sense that one of the most iconic and long-running Lego properties of all time has one of the best games. The charm of iconic heroes and villains being reduced to toys that grunt and whack each other never really wears off, whether you're enjoying the exploration it allows or the simplified versions of iconic villain fights. Lego wouldn't have the popularity it does today without Batman, so this saga definitely deserves a high spot. But the bronze medal of greatness has to go to Lego DC Supervillains, which, in all fairness, I guess technically counts as a Lego Batman game too. But this game allows you to take control of all, or at least least most of Batman's nemesis over the course of the series. Not to mention getting to make your own baddie to join the fun. Being able to play as so many villains with their own unique abilities is enough to put this one really high up. But what lands this game in the top 3 is its sheer polish. In terms of objective gameplay, this is probably the best LEGO game out there. And if you're a fan of the Joker, Penguin, Harley, or other villains from DC's lineup, that just makes it even better. The silver medal of greatness goes to what's almost undoubtedly the most well-known theme for LEGO: LEGO Star Wars. But first, this video is brought to you by Wicked Binge channel memberships. You can gain access to our videos early before anyone else, plus get members-only emojis and loyalty badges by supporting the channel through a membership. Star Wars is insanely popular already, but when you package its characters into one of the most marketable, beloved toy lines of all time, you've got the closest thing society currently has to a legal money printer. Some of the best LEGO sets of all time come from Star Wars, like that infamously high-dollar Death Star or that cute Ewok village. But like, come on, we all know the real meat and potatoes of the LEGO Star Wars legacy. The LEGO Star Wars games they're just a whole new level of iconic. Basically every character you could think of who should be playable is playable, complete with their own speeds, powers, and designs. From the iconic ones like Chewbacca, Han Solo, Luke, and R2-D2 to the more obscure picks, like my favorite playable character, the Gonk droid. Every character has their purpose in what some might call the quintessential LEGO game. Perhaps more so than any other, it really makes you want to go back and enjoy some LEGO building of your own. So it fits like a glove that our gold medal of greatness goes to the most awesome piece of LEGO media that we could find, the LEGO Movie. There have been plenty of kids movies that were way better than they had any rhyme or reason to be, and one of the first examples of those that comes to mind is the LEGO Movie. What could have easily just been a cash grab and a toy advertisement was, well, okay, it was a toy advertisement, but it was also a genuinely great movie, and one you can tell was made by people who actually care about the stuff they're doing. First off, the animation. This movie really gives the vibe of playing with actual Legos, to the point where I really thought it was stop motion until like literally yesterday. Seriously, I was rewatching it and I came across a post on Reddit, and lo and behold, nope, that's just really good stylistic CGI, complete with realistic lighting, a charming cast of characters, and a genuinely touching story. This movie really gets the heart of what LEGO-induced nostalgia is all about. Sometimes when everything isn't awesome, you just have to make things awesome. And sometimes the best way to do that is to just make stuff. If all that isn't enough to convince you that you're looking at peak cinema, just take this in for a moment. This movie made Batman its comic relief character, and it actually worked really well. For that level of master building, I'll even forgive them for still not inviting LEGO SpongeBob into the mix.